Here we go. All right, y'all, what's up? It's Lindsey here. Yes, you can hear my raspy voice. For those of you that don't know, I had to cancel my first ever virtual event for BirthFit because I got a cold, a virus. It's a weird thing that's going around, I guess, and it got me right in the voice box, right in the respiratory voice box situation. And I had no voice for 2 days, and it's slowly come back just in time for me to interview my friend here, Nikki Adams. And I'm excited for y'all to listen to her because she's one hell of an entrepreneur, and she's been with BirthFit since the beginning, like the very first BirthFit Coach seminar. January, it was like January, February. I remember the dates were like transitioning, but it was 2017, which is crazy. And that seems like yesterday, but also that's like 8 years ago. So, Nikki, welcome. Super glad to have you. And I'm excited for all the new coaches, even the seasoned coaches, to listen to hear basically how you built this amazing community that you have and this space that you have. And there, all the feedback that I get from, see, now you can hear my voice going, but anybody that's either moved away from your space, like they used to train with you, or they're going into that space, they're like, "Oh, I'm so bummed I had to move away from the cave or Nikki, or my coach Nikki was amazing." You know, you don't realize how good you have it until you leave something. And that's been the general feedback I've gotten when women reach out and they're like, "Do you have any BirthFit coaches and whatever, whatever?" I'm like, no. And they're like, well, I used to train with Nikki. I'm like, well, good luck. No, good luck finding that replacement. But anyways, all right, Nikki, welcome. Let the audience, let the community, let those listeners know who you are, what roles and hats you wear in the world today. And then we'll dive right into all the intimate questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Linz. I am always so honored to be in this space. It's the coolest and it's home for me. So really excited to be here and just to share a little bit. Hats. Woo. So yeah, first hat, the most important hat is that I'm a mom. My son is amazing. He's an adult now and just bought his first house in Arizona. He's doing great. He was in the Air Force, and then when he left the Air Force, and now he's working as a civilian doing basically the same thing. So he's working on our aircraft and loving it. And he's just doing great. And he's got 2 dogs and an incredible girlfriend. And I couldn't be happier for him. So that's my first hat. That's the most important hat. The second hat that I wear is, I guess you could say owner, founder would be. The reason why it's such an important hat is because it's the umbrella for the thing, right? So the cave is my gym. I call it more of a hub of a wellness space. So we do obviously strength and conditioning and all that kind of stuff in here. But more than anything, what we do in this space is we create community and we cultivate relationships and healing and help people thrive. And outside of that hat, my favorite hat is at BirthFit Coach, and I absolutely love that hat. It's been my hat since 2017, and it's honestly my purpose. It's my why. And then I'm a doula now too. So I've taken a few births with some of my mamas. That's been really incredible and super special to see the full circle of that. And I'm loving that part of it. I have to obviously pick and choose that because that world. It's crazy. But I love all these hats. And I'm currently also living out a cool dream with Lululemon as one of their ambassadors right now. And that has been really, really neat to watch them support what we are doing as a community within BirthFit too. They're really about it. Anything that I'm doing that facilitates that work, they're on board with. They're always there to help me. I actually have my store manager from that store in my BirthFit program right now in here. So she's postpartum. Yeah. And they're really supportive. That's been a lot of the hats that I've been wearing as of late. And I think they kind of all do this, right? They all
Yeah, they
just
all
kind of
intertwine.
intermingle.
Yeah, absolutely. That's nice. And because when you show up fully, authentically as yourself and the energy you bring, you don't have to pick and choose where you fill the energy cups, like they can
Yeah.
all support each other. Okay,
Yes.
going back, like way back, when you were thinking about signing up for the BirthFit Coach seminar, I know this is like 8 years ago, and you were already coach, you were already involved in the fitness world, I know. What made you pull the trigger to be like, okay, I need to go to this? Like, was there one thing or because like you already had a presence. And so many of our coaches and people that listen to this, they're like, why should I basically further my education,
Yeah. Um, wow. So I'll start with two things that I feel that actually before the thing was the thing. I felt this inner calling in my heart of that I need something was missing something was missing. I loved coaching. That was great. And at the time that my population that I was serving, I had 5 pregnant girls at the same time. I had 5 mamas all carrying all within a month of each other. And it was the joke. Don't drink the water at the cave. Don't drink the
Yeah.
water, there because you're going to get pregnant. And it was, I felt like I knew what I was doing, but I really didn't feel like knew what I was doing. And I didn't like that feeling as a coach.
Yeah.
I'm always wanting to, I'm a learner. So to me, I want to get into a room that's going to educate me. And I was just digging everywhere, trying to find. I was online. This was before the chat world and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. AI was not there. And I was just digging. I was, prenatal, postpartum, and I was looking into chiropractic and wellness and all this. And the podcast popped up. The BirthFit Podcast popped up. And I was also lucky enough to be connected into the CrossFit world.
Yeah.
And so Deuce, where you were at the time, was it's very prevalent of a learning space. And it continues to be that for me today. Yeah. But I saw that that's where you were connected. And I said, I got to figure this out. And I remember sending you a message. And I said, I'm listening to your podcast. Is there any way that I can learn more from you? I have all these women that are pregnant and I need to know what to do correctly. And I'm just want to do the right thing. And you said, actually, I have my first seminar coming up. You sent the link and this is going to be the funniest story ever. I remember at the time, it was something like $500, right? Back then, like not even, it was a fraction of what, it should have been.
I think it was $350. Yeah.
Was it? It was
like
crazy.
Yeah, $450, $350 or $450, but yeah.
It wasn't what it should have been. We'll just say that. Right. And I was like, I'm doing this. And my previous partner was like, we can't spend any money right now. Yeah. The gym, we just opened up the gym. You can't do that. And I said, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I just felt it. And it was the best decision of my life.
That's awesome. That was awesome.
It was just the best choice to do that and to step into that realm. And it called me to do it. Yeah. And I just knew that it was the right fit. From the moment that I stepped into that room, I just knew. I said, this is it. This is the thing. And it's the thing.
That's awesome. I love that. Very intuitive led, which I would say that literally, like, that was me, that planning for that weekend as well. It's like, okay, we're just going to do it. We're just going to show up and I'm going to share what I know. And yeah, it was a God-driven action. I always get the request like, hey, when are you bringing back live events? So can you briefly describe the energy in the room? Because that was our only 3-day seminar. After that, we learned we had to cut it down just because people traveling with flights, childcare, things like that. I totally get that, respected that. And we cut it down to 2 days. But we sold out, like you said, 30 people in the room. There was about 5 guys in there, 25 women from all over. And it was amazing. Could you describe the energy in the room for that live event? And even maybe 1 or 2 things you took away immediately and started implementing.
Oh my gosh. first off, the energy, it's I would say it's unmatched. So I've obviously taken tons of education
Yeah.
courses I'm always in it. I'm always learning, growing. And there was something so different about walking into that, whether you said like intuitive led, God thing, whatever it is, it was it was the intangible, right? So sometimes when we're looking for people right in our lives, or we're looking for a match, what we're looking for is that almost the thing that you can't touch, smell, or taste, right? It's the feeling, it's the yes, it's the know, the yes, right? And when that room and just being in that space, you're in a room of people that are forward thinking, that are leaders. So they're trying to lead from the front, right? They're trying to take the agency of running their communities and being better coaches, being better leaders. So you just put that in a space, and then you put it in around people that have a heart for making a shift and a change in the
Mm.
most vulnerable place of a woman's life. Then you're just going to create this kind of this oneness, right? And that's what I remember it feeling like. It was just
Yeah.
a different kind of energy. You're next to people. It's something that you can't get from not being live, not being next to somebody. It's,
Yeah.
you can't feel energy. You can't touch, you can't learn, it can't grow in the same capacity. And so to me, that was what I remember feeling about that seminar. And really, truly, nothing has even come close to that experience of,
Oh, I love
of
it.
that. And I mean that. And I've taken several,
Yeah,
several
you're a
courses.
constant learner. I love it.
Yeah. But the one thing I will say that I took away immediately
Yeah.
was the breath technique. So I was a backwards breather, as I like to describe it when I'm working with my mamas and they're really struggling. Not even just mamas, but like my athletes, right?
Yeah.
Even my high school athletes, when I'm trying to teach them the system of how to breathe correctly and how to access their pelvic bowl and how to get into the whole system, it's really confusing for people that have not had access to that.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that our bodies just somehow, whether it's trauma, whatever, they just can't access that breath. And for me, that was a huge, it was because the breath is everything. The breath is
Yeah.
what we can control. So when we can control the breath, we can control a lot of other levers behind that. So it was huge. And for me, that was something I needed to see. I needed to touch. I needed
Yeah.
all the feels, right?
Hmm. Yeah. That's such a clutch thing to take away for somebody that's, I mean, for anybody, right? But you could immediately implement it, integrate it into your already existing population. And like you said, you had a range of people. So breath work is going to influence everyone from the high school, the middle school athlete, up to your senior citizen. Just it's going to influence everybody positively. So that's really cool.
Uh,
Oh, Nikki, thank you. You gave me the chills talking about the energy in the room. I was like, oh yeah, that was
did it
so
bring
good.
you back?
Yeah, I was just
Good,
like
good.
visualizing, feeling all. I was like, yeah, this is good stuff. Makes me excited for future live events. I know they're out there. Okay, but moving on. Now, what does your business look like? What does your clientele look like? Who do you serve? And then we'll talk about the processes getting there. So, what does a day to day look like for you? What does your community look like? And then we'll go from there.
I love talking about this. So this community, I say it's a unicorn because it really is. It's a unicorn. And that portion has about this much to do with me. I say this is God's work. He's just entrusted me to facilitate it and to operate it. And so from my first class starts at 5 a.m. and you will have about 15 women that come in rare and ready to go at 5 a.m. These are moms. I'd say 95% of them are moms. So they are getting it done before they can serve their families. And a lot of them are not stay-at-home moms. A lot of these are mamas that are working moms. And so they're coming in at 5 a.m. They're banging that workout out. Then I have 6 a.m. right behind them. It's another group of 15, 16 moms that are the exact same energy, and they're just I am not an early morning person, but
Right.
I am. because of them, because they bring
Yeah.
so much life into this
I used
place.
to, interrupt you for a second, but whenever I used to coach regularly at Deuce, right? I used to say the early morning crew is a different breed. Like
100.
they they are just straight freaking rocket shooters. And so I would coach the 9 a.m. class all the way across the 9 a.m. and in the noon. And it was so I could have slower mornings, but I would always pick up classes or cover for somebody that needed to travel or do something. And so whenever I would show up and coach the 5:30 or the 6:30, even the 7 a.m., they would be like, what are you doing here? Where's our regular coach? Because they are so dialed in their routines, and they're like, we're not here for any of that flow shit. I'm like, okay.
They are not
They
kidding.
are a
Like it
different
is,
breed.
it's a whole different. I say 5 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. very different,
Oh my
different
God.
beats. Yeah,
Totally different ends of the spectrum. But okay,
yeah. So yeah, so then this is where it kind of gets good. So then I usually have a private client, or right around this little marker, like the 7:30 to 8:30. But I also, what I do is I prioritize my morning, because if I'm starting at 4:15 to get up, I don't have so great of a morning routine at that portion. So then that's where my morning routine comes in. So then I will go for a walk, practice, I use our BirthFit basics for myself daily.
Yeah.
So I will go for a walk, grab a cup of coffee or some matcha, and then I will spend 15 minutes and breath and movement and connect, just to make sure that I'm okay. I have a rule for myself that I don't open my emails until after my first break of the day, which is 12:30.
Oh,
So I don't do that, because I don't want it to affect the way that I'm showing up for my people in here.
oh,
So then
that's
in
a
9 my yeah, it's hard, but I just
yeah.
don't. It's just the way it is. It's just like, nope, that can wait. Nothing is, if somebody needs to get a hold of me and it's an emergency, they know how to get a hold of me. So
Absolutely.
then at 9 o'clock, I have my 9 a.m. group. And like you said, that's a different kind of group. And I'm going to kind of circle back to the 9 a.m. right after I tell you what my 10:30 is. So Tuesday through Friday is my BabeFit class, where I teach BirthFit.
Yeah.
And that is from 10:30 to about 11:30-ish, 45. It's mom time. So I don't have scheduled anything after them for
It's
a couple
mom
of
time.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so they can stay, hang out, nurse, have community.
Yeah.
Just, it's a really important time for them. So I want it to not feel rushed. And I want them to be able to really just tune in. And so what I have done is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I run for 5 weeks is the level 1, right, of BirthFit, which would be considered kind of our modalities, right, within BirthFit, of teaching the
Mm-hmm.
basics of creating. These are going to be for a lot of my newer mamas, or my mamas that are in their very like last 6 weeks of pregnancy. We'll move
Yeah.
into that. And this is where it's a slower pace. We're really taking things down. I'm breaking down all the BirthFit movements. We're
Basics.
reteaching.
Yeah.
We're reteaching squatting, lifting, training, and by the end of that series, they're pretty much okay. We've got some movement here. We've got
Okay.
our autonomy back in our body. We have an understanding of what's going on. Then I have a level 2 program, and this runs on Wednesdays and Fridays, same time. And this is a step up. This is where they already know what's expected. They have the expectation. We have like routine now, and we're stepping up our game a little bit. I also have a childcare provider that comes in and helps me at that time, 2 days a week, because
Yeah.
my babies are getting bigger. So they're starting to be like crazy, right? Like some of them are just wild, and I wouldn't want it any other way, but we need help. And I
Yeah.
want, so I'm really blessed because I have an incredible childcare provider that loves my babies and has also actually become a babysitter to a lot of my moms in here. But that, she helps me so we can really create that stability. Now, what I've also done with that level 2 is it's a hybrid program. So I have let those mamas that come to that level 2 class also have access to come to my 9 a.m. class. My
Oh,
9
that's
a.m. class, Monday through Friday, I coach that. And that's,
yep.
even though it's a regular scheduled GPP class, it got
Yeah.
a different tone to it, because it's like you said, it's not a 5 a.m. raging. It's a 9 a.m. Moms are coming in. It's a little bit different pace. My eyes can be all over them. And I can really facilitate that. This is where a lot of my pregnant girls train. So a lot of my girls that are pregnant will move into 9 o'clock because it's just it's our GPP, it's our general strength and conditioning class, but it's a little bit different. So I also have childcare in that class 3 days a week too, as well. So it just offers a lot of help and stability. And this didn't just come. This was something that evolved, that was a need from my community that we figured it out.
Yeah.
But and then we have evening classes.
There's a lot of flexibility there too. Like once they know the foundations, then they have wiggle room, so that's
absolutely cool. And not everybody stays, right? Some of these mamas are coming to me for that do Pilates, or they're runners or whatever. They're at another CrossFit gym out here that isn't facilitating this correctly. So they just want to feel seen and taken care of during this. And then for me, that's a win, right? of course I want them to stay with me selfishly, but if they can go back into their communities and they know what to do for themselves,
right? Maybe they're driving further or something.
Exactly. So that's the win there for me. And then I will take during the day. Then I do like a lot of privates in my afternoon, or I work with high school athletes, and I'm loving that so much. That's been really, really fulfilling in my heart too, as well. So I work with a competition cheer team right now, softball program. It's really fun and really great. But I'll do that.
And cool that those girls, those adolescent teenage girls, they get to see your space and be exposed to older women that are confident in their bodies, that have these beautiful, healthy habits, like that's really cool, I think.
It's so cool. And they're always like so supportive. The girls are so cute. They're like, how are the babies? And they're very sweet. Yeah. They're very sweet. And exactly.
Yeah.
They're seeing it, and and I've even had a really cool thing that's happened in my early morning classes where moms and their daughters are working out together now. So high school girls are coming in before school.
You can't training. You can't plan for that. Like that.
No.
Like you just have to create the environment like you did, and then hope for the best. And like, man, that's amazing.
And then I do have some guys. So everybody's like, this is all girls gym. It's not. We have some guys, and they're usually the husbands of my girls, and they train at night. And I have a male coach at night who's great. And he coaches 3 nights a week. And he's fantastic. And he helps me out a lot in that space, that he can be there and we can have a little bit of that male energy. And then that's also a lot of my women in that class are different in the sense that maybe they're in a different phase of motherhood. So they have adult children, or they're not even moms yet. So they can kind of get after it a little bit differently. That's a great class. I train in there a lot because it's just when I can hop in and get in. But like you said, it's personalities, right? All the classes are different. But what I think the gist of what I'm trying to explain is it's not this or that, right? It's this and that. And it's cultivated into themselves. But at the end of the day, yes, the cave was created completely to cater to women and pregnancy and postpartum. And that was my first mission. And all the other pieces, I just kind of have let fill. But the goal when I opened up in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic was just to have a space for BirthFit. I was watching these moms suffer, and I was doing a lot of online coaching with them and trying to meet in a park. And what I was seeing was they were even their faces, the way they looked, they were not lit up. They were going through horrible stories of what their birth story was. They had no connection, no community, no other moms doing it with them. And I just was like, for lack of a better word, this is bullshit. Yeah. And I just don't know what to do about this. And it's so awful. And then God had his way and said, the unthinkable happened. And I was able to, come back to a space that was open and say, I'm going to just try. I really had no business of doing it. Didn't really truly have financial means to do it. Had no real business plan behind it. I just knew what I wanted to do and what I wanted to serve. And it just has kind of done its thing. Yeah. So I just think that it's with explaining the nucleus of how the gym works, how the cave works, there's just a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, but it sounds like what you saw, your vision was crystal clear, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that's super important. Sorry, there's a little background noise over here. We'll do our best. Um,
Mhm.
so from 2020, well, let's hit on that a minute because what you gave to these women, as you said, like 2020, you're smack dab in the middle of California, like right outside of Los Angeles, for those of you that don't know. This was the Mecca Center of shenanigans, I'll call it. Like the 6 feet, women were birthing alone in the hospital, that people all around them had masks on. Like it was isolating, disconnecting. It was terrible. Nobody was getting postpartum visits. And for you to show up and be this face, this hand basically to hold them and offer them a safe space was huge. Do you want to share anything else on that?
Yeah, it's so crazy too because at the time that was not the plan. I had no plan to do that. That wasn't where I was. I was actually contemplating on moving. I was either looking at, yeah, I was looking at either Palm Springs or at the time my son was in Utah. I was looking that way. I just was ready to move. I had had a life quake, as I would call it, right before all that. And I just was like, I got to go, I got to go. And then the pandemic happened and everything shifted, right? Everything. I mean, for me, it was drastic. So the calling to do this was just this weird, almost out of body experience, but I could see it. I could visualize. I mean, I'm talking down to the plants. I could see it. Like what it needed to feel like for these women and what I needed to do. And I just knew that it was going to find its way, that it was going to find its way because I was doing God's work, right? I knew it. Like it was like I just could tell. I didn't know how I was going to do it really, but I knew that I was going to be equipped. And it was so the first mom that I had, she just cried. And it was just this first group of women, there was two, then there was four, then there was six, and then I was starting to, then my village started coming, right? So then all the birth workers that I'm working with are like, we'll help. So now I have my PTs, my pelvic floor PTs, my chiros, my doula teams, the supporters, right? That I wasn't just the jerk girl that was running an illegal operation. It was more of like, yeah, it was like, oh, we kind of see the reasoning behind this and what's going on, and that this is really, really important. And it's just it was the nucleus of the why, and it still is. So I think when you come, it's really important. You have to have, I want to say the cheesy word purpose, right?
Yeah.
But you have to have, there has to be something that's bigger than, oh, this is cool. I should probably know how to do this. I should probably learn how to do this this is probably a really good money maker for my gym. Cause I'm going to be honest with you, it's been really tough. And there's
Yeah.
been moments where it hasn't been profitable and you are doing things that are, for cheaper than you should be charging. And, you know, and not at the right rate because you're just trying to take care of people. And so it's not about the money at all.
Right.
It
It's about
really
the
isn't.
purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad you hit on that because that's the money can be flashy and it can attract people and you're like, oh yeah, let's bring this to the women in our gym, or we need that, we can attract more women.
Mhm.
But for it to be sustainable and long term and you actually serve the women, like serve like on a soul level, it's about
Mhm.
the purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. And it's, I say it has to fulfill you on every level too. So it's not just a business level, it's a personal level. I mean, um, I've had to say no to so many things in my life so that I can continue to say yes to this. So
Mm,
I've had to walk away from relationships. I've had
yeah.
to, you know, say no to opportunities that would have been really attractive, right, for me personally, but because this is the work, right? This is it. This is what I made an agreement to with Soul of
Yeah.
saying, this is your, I'm not going to go because ego wants to go right where soul doesn't want to go. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing.
It's
And
got
so,
trickery.
yeah, exactly. So you just have to really stay in your lane with that. And I
Mm,
think that the right things will happen out of that. And it's not perfect.
right.
I've made mistakes. I've had to do a lot of figuring it out and a lot of pivots and going, oh, wow, I should have done that probably differently, or could have looked better, or yeah, that could have been a better opportunity there. And also too, standing on your boundaries too, because a lot of people, when you're producing something attractive, they want a piece of it without
Yeah.
understanding what it's really about. And that
Mhm.
sometimes you can look like the bad guy or look like, oh,
A
that's
jerk.
the girl that doesn't, yeah, that's the girl that doesn't want to see anybody else win, and it's like, no, actually, I just want you to do this correctly.
I just want you to
and,
honor my
and
boundary and do this right.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, you have such a brilliant attitude for being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, because it's about being able to pivot, being able to embrace that adaptability. And maybe you've cultivated it along the way. Maybe you started with it. I don't know. But what I see is like growth mindset. You embrace the obstacle as the way. You own your lane, your own extreme ownership. Like you embrace all the mindset tools, right, of BirthFit. And I think that's what's helped make you successful in the long run. But also, as we were talking about before we hit record, also like some systems and some of the nitty gritty that comes with owning a business. So before we pivot and start wrapping up, do you want to share anything about the back end, like the systems you got in play, and maybe some learning lessons as a business owner as far as operations go?
Yeah, there's a lot. Wow. That's going to be a course.
That's gonna
Okay,
be,
Lindsay,
yeah.
that's going to be a course
The main
of how
ticket
to do the
queue.
operations. Yeah, the operations of it. So definitely you have to have systems, and the growth mindset for sure, I would say, is I was an athlete. So that was something that you had to have. That was just not, you wasn't going to serve you to not have that. However, it can kind of do this back and forth in your life, whether you have to choose it, right? It's a choice to be in that mindset. And I will tell you this, the lowest level that you can live in is victimhood, and you should stay there as minimal amount of time as you need to. So yes, growth for sure is the way that you things. And so even when you're looking at things on an operation level, you have to see that. So you have to see things like an upward position, right? So you can't see things. Yes, numbers are numbers, but you also have to say, I can see this happening too, though.
Mm.
Yeah, I can see this happening. So the systems that I have pretty much play into the systems that I operate at the gym. So like your back end, right? You have to have a software system, something that's going to be, I use
What do you use? You
push
use push
press.
press.
Yeah, I
Cool.
love them. I think they've been
Yeah, a lot of
fantastic.
people do.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they're fantastic. I was one of their first customers, and
Hey.
yeah, and so I think they're fantastic. So
Cool.
they help a lot, and the thing that I like about them is they're growth mindset oriented. So
Oh,
they will
yeah.
pivot if you tell them, hey, this is a bug, this is a problem. I think this would work better. They're about it.
Cool.
But I use them for a lot of my all the back end of like your billing, your class scheduling, all those kinds of things. Where I have needed to get better at is taking deposits up front for series. So
Mm.
when I'm booking out, because I only book 8 girls per series,
Yeah.
I need to get better at the social media side of it too, of promoting it, getting it out there. I had enough in a time, getting the system set up to where it's just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm pivoting through that because a lot of what's done is they sign up right for the series. And then sometimes because mom life happens, you'll get a last minute call and then now that spot is voided. So
Yeah.
if you know what I mean, because
Yeah.
I've never led with the money. I've always led
Yeah.
with the heart. And
Hmm.
that's something that I'm learning. I have to have you've got to have accountability there a little bit. So
Hmm.
that's something that I'm pivoting and doing in the new year is going to have deposits for every series, and every workshop that I do now is paid ahead of time. And that's because I've had to. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just been a
absolutely.
learning lesson.
Well,
But
you're
I
so
would say,
busy. You're so busy, and
yeah,
that's somebody taking somebody else's spot that would be there
yeah,
to help you. Yeah.
absolutely. And I don't want to do that. I don't want a mom to go without having that series that she needs for her
Yeah.
body. So that would be something I would say is really important, is to have those kinds of systems in place and know exactly, be really intentional of your marketing, I guess, of how to get things out. I'm not great in that area at all. I've actually contemplating on like getting help in that area because it's just not my forte. And it's just, I'm just not great at it, but it's just being present too, and getting the right systems in place that will help you do that. That would be
Cool.
something. So if you're great at it, that's going to be a plus for sure.
Do you, I'm thinking about newer coaches right now or newer trainers. Do you set aside time each week to review your numbers, review your schedule, look at the week ahead, kind of organize that? Like, can you share a little bit about that for the newer folks?
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially in a sense of a gym, right? Operationally, you have to know what's coming in. You have to know what your classes look like, where what that's going to look like, and how you're going to set up yourself for the week. So I know Tuesdays in here is a very busy day for me in general. It's Tushy Tuesday, so it's our lower body day. We do a lot of like glute work, and not that every day is not a full body day in here, but that's a specific day, and it just seems to have a lot of great energy. And the classes are busier on Tuesday. And so I always know that about my day and what that looks like. And so I can plan accordingly for that. When it comes to the BirthFit program, I basically have, especially for level 1, I have a block of what I want that to look like, of where I want what week 1 to look like, week 2,
Yeah.
week 3. However, you need to be open to that, because with how we are training in this particular area, we're looking at each mom individually too as well.
Yeah.
And remember how we're about, you show up in the body that you have today, so that can look really
Yeah.
different. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to honor that. And if the class needs to slow down, or if somebody needs a little bit more, I always say you program in an ish,
Yeah.
right? It's like this is this, but yeah, I have to know my week in advance, because I have to know where I can put my private clients, or where I can say yes to something with Lululemon, or what, if I don't have some kind of structure, it gets really messy really fast.
Right. I like that. Yeah, you have to have kind of guardrails on your schedule, like and you're saying, so you can say no or yes to things that pop up.
Yeah.
And I really like what you touched on, because we talk about this inside of the curriculum that we share, our programming. It's like you program with, let's say, objectives in mind for a time period. Maybe it's a week or 2 weeks or a month, but you've got to be able to pivot with the mom and where she's at today. Absolutely. Um,
Yeah. It's really important.
so a little bit on numbers. You mentioned, and we've all done this, right? Do something for free, do something for, minimal bucks. When did you find, and like even now you're talking about, having women sign up, put a deposit down, hold the space. But when do you find it appropriate? And maybe you're still thinking about this, or there's other thoughts going on, but when to raise prices, or when to establish a new baseline for prices, whether it be the gym or the BirthFit classes or everything.
Yeah, that's been really hard for me. I'm still
It's
working
so hard
through that
for
right
women.
now.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
actually just hired a coach to help me with that, because
Good.
I'm really not great at it. And because I'm so connected to my community, it feels I've had
Yeah.
to figure out how to not make it so personal,
Yeah.
and to look at my numbers, because everything has gone up. And especially this last year for me, I'm in a real pivotal moment right now in time, without digging too deep into that, where I
Yeah.
have to make some pretty big decisions. And that is it's going to mean that those things have to happen,
Yeah.
right? That there's got to be, even if they're small adjustments,
Yeah.
I don't really call them price increases. I say they're like adjustments, right? Because
Yep.
for sure my for sure the series is going to be going up in the new year. Right now I've been at a price point that is just it doesn't make sense anymore to be there. And I have to move that needle up a little bit. Because I do feel like what I'm giving and providing is worth it. And that
Absolutely.
so I need to be able to call that number in to be able to also live better, because
Well,
that's been
yeah,
hard.
yeah. I was going to say, and the average cost of living is a lot higher where you are.
Insanity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
compared to somebody
I'm
else.
almost getting priced out. So that's what's happening to me right now, is that with living and with operating expenses. So because, I it doesn't necessarily play too much part into it, but I will say I'm single, so it's just me. I don't have a dual
Yeah.
income. I don't have like a backup. I don't have a helper, right? If the month is bad and it's like, hey, so I am
Taught me.
completely right. Yeah, I'm completely dependent on me and the flow of the business of that month. So what's happening in California, what I don't know if it's happening in Texas as much, but it has gone so high out here
It's
for
crazy.
living and just rents, cost of living, as far as insurance. Oh, it's just insane. It's just insane.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, my insurance in here got dropped because of the fires. So I had to go outsource it to a different provider and figure out. So that jumped quite significantly for just
Yeah.
insurance. It's just things like that.
California is wild. Yeah, it is the
Yeah.
Wild West. Oh my God. And to be a business owner in California, I salute you. I salute you. Uh, oh my gosh. Okay, so I know you got a hard stop. Thank you for sharing some of the ins and outs and all of your business, of your journey, all of it. Before we exit, where can people find you? Social media, website, yeah, things like that. Like, especially if they're in the Los Angeles area, what part of Los Angeles are you in? And then lead them to your website.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So I am in Valencia, Santa Clarita, California, which is a suburb right outside of LA. So I'm still LA County. So if you're basically Magic Mountain is what I tell everybody. If you look about where Magic Mountain is, that's where Valencia is. And
Yeah.
so it's not too difficult, too hard of a drive out of LA with it, considering traffic, though. That would always play a part in it. And then I have 3 different places that you can find me. So for the work that I do within the BirthFit scope, the Instagram is BabeFit _ SoCal. And then the website is connected to that, and it's babecavetraining.com. And that's where you can find all the things that I'm doing within this community. And then my gym is Cave Training, and that website is cavetrainingfit.com. And I run them separately on purpose. I've been told several times, just merge it, but I don't want to. Energetically wise, I like that they operate on their own energy source.
Yeah.
So
Good for you.
I like keeping that a little bit separate. And then I have a personal one where I get a little bit more personal about my life and kind of the things that I'm doing there. And that's Nikki _ the Babe Whisperer. So yeah,
You have
my
three socials. Okay.
I do. I do. They kind of play into each other though, and then I have help with the gym one. So I
Cool.
have my coaches help me with that one too. But
Awesome.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but it's important. It's important to stay connected to your communities and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
as you know, I mean, and then I think that I want to just leave with this because I think
Yeah.
it's
What
really
would you
important.
leave with the
Yeah,
audience with today?
I think what I would say is follow into your heart, right? If your heart is calling you to this work and you know that it's because you want to serve this community, that you feel that pull to go that direction, say yes to it. Say yes
Mm,
to it. It'll be the best investment that you've ever made. Um, and the thing with having BirthFit and as a certification, as education, it's not even just that, it's the community behind it. There's a lot of, now there's a ton out there, right? When
yeah.
you were back in the day, Lynn's like you were it.
We're the
You were the one
only
doing the thing. There was
thing.
like maybe one other, but
Yeah.
now they're just everywhere. And I think that's great for the space because that means that we're bringing more attention to what this work is. But what I would say is you have to sit with the pillars, right? where one might be mostly just working on the physical and the adaptive changes and maybe like the athlete mindset. What BiRTHFIT is doing is it's taking the totality of the soul, right? So it's like a
Mm,
soul, it's kind of like a soul reclamation, basically, where you're
perfect.
looking at the
Yeah.
body and the soul, and then how you're going to serve that and what that's going to look like. And I think that's, if you resonate there, that's how you're going to know, right? There's going to be
Yeah.
that's going to be your yes. And so I just say, I want to encourage that, to make sure that, if people are trying to seek out what's going to be the best way to go, I think that they need to take a look at what BiRTHFIT stands on and the why behind that. And that's what for me has been the biggest win.
Aw.
I think, yeah. So I'm just so proud of the work that this community has done and where you're going. And I'm
Well, I'm proud
excited
of
to
you,
be,
Nikki.
thanks.
You're amazing.
It's been
Yeah.
a journey. It's been a journey.
Right. Right. Uh,
Yeah.
but you built something beautiful, and who knows what the next chapter will bring. So embrace this one while you're in it.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thanks for
Definitely
being here.
trying to. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to practice all what I teach. Right, is like
Right.
nervous system regulation, like just
All the things.
knowing and feeling. Yeah, trying to be the teacher and the student at the same
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You're amazing. Thank you so much.
yeah,
So enjoy
absolutely.
your class. I really
Thanks.
appreciate you, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye,
Bye.
Nikki.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.